Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a short video on the progress of this hardcore character. I'm doing this hardcore shop only character, so the only stuff I can use, check the watermark at the top, it will tell you all about it. The only stuff I can use is stuff that I've either bought from a faction shop. That's the priority. Priority is buy it from a faction shop. I can buy stuff from the normal shops if it's something that I can't get from a faction shop or I can't craft. I can craft stuff at the blacksmith. I will try and prioritize stuff I craft at the blacksmith from blueprints I've bought. So it's really just, I want to try and show that you can do stuff in this game with shop bought gear and not have to rely on random loot drops or monster infrequents. It's new and different for me because I do tend to enjoy the odd monster infrequent item, as you may know. This is me leveling up to level 62 on this guy. I'm going to put a point into Inquisitor Seal and into that thing there, which is a passive that goes off whenever you score a critical hit. It will increase the damage you do. You get like a target thing appear over your head. There it is there, that blue target. So the character is a two-handed ranged character. There's a whole load of 3 or 4 previous episodes of this showing us being leveled up. I'm doing the video playback mostly at ×2 because otherwise it will just drag on. I'll slow it down sometimes, like in the level ups, like in the devotion point allocation. I've come into Hallowed Hill to grab this devotion point. I forget I've got it and don't allocate it for a while, but don't worry about that, it's just me. This is in Hardcore Elite, so I've completed everything pretty much in normal. I don't think I did Korvac. I didn't want to risk it. Not because he probably would have killed me, but because I would have got scared halfway through the fight and quit out, and it just would have been boring to watch. I might have a go at him later. I might have a go at him in Elite, I don't know. Some of the stuff I don't do in Hardcore is because I want to avoid dying. If you know the challenge the game is going to present and you think I might die if I do that, then don't do it in Hardcore. You can go and get XP and loot somewhere else. The whole point of this is get as far as I can, do as much as I can do on the shop bought gear. What I want to do is get into Ultimate. I really want to get into Ultimate. I don't want to make some stupid mistake and die in Elite because this isn't going to prove anything. What I want to do is get into Ultimate, show you a bunch of stuff I bought from the shop. Mostly faction gear. It will honestly be mostly faction gear and stuff I've crafted from blueprints I've bought from factions. And then I can say, you can go and get this stuff. You haven't got to wait for random loot drops. All you've got to do is get the components and materials you need to craft. Hang on, devotion allocation coming up. I had a look around. I realised I was putting points in Rowan's Crown. I haven't played this character for a bit, so I forgot. I'm trying to get to that. So I'll go out second node down there. Yeah, I haven't played this hardcore character for a while. I mean, it's an auto shooter, so it's not, you haven't got to sort of go in and go, what buttons have I got to press? But I'd kind of forgotten what I was levelling up and where I was putting the points, but it doesn't really matter. It's a purifier, it's kind of obvious what you're doing. You know, it's sort of, it's obvious to me what I was doing. Sometimes there's a fire in that doorway and you can't get straight through. I put a rift down and then I run into the warden cellar and map back. It's just the way I do it. It just saves you backtracking and fiddling about later. Because I tend to go in, after that shrine I'll go in and rescue Kasparov's assistant, and then if you do all that and you think, oh, I've got to run all the way back to the warden cellar, whereas if you go in there first and map back, probably doesn't save you any time at all, but in my head I'm saving myself time. And I've got the skill and I'm going to stick it on bursting round because I'm kind of limited with my options. I didn't really want to put it on Inquisitor Seal. Not sure what would happen if you put it on Inquisitor Seal. It would just fire off around Inquisitor Seal. I'm not sure. I'll have to try that. Yeah, actually that's worth trying out. I'll do that at some point and see. Right, Kasparov's assistant, and then I go crazy and kill a few more monsters before getting out of there. It's quite strong actually, considering the gun is the, I think it's the level 35 or 40, some level gun you get from Devil's Crossing. Devil's Musket or something, and there's a level 70 one later on, which hopefully will carry me until I get the Desolator blueprint from Mammoth Resistance. Get the Desolator blueprint at Revered and craft that bad boy, and that is a good endgame weapon. It's one of the best. It's one of the best endgame two-handed guns in the game. So, you know, you could say, oh, you're cheating. You're playing a build that you know is going to work. Yeah, of course I am. Of course I'm playing a build that I know is going to work. So a lot depends on what I do and how I do it, but the build should be fine. Inquisitor Seal is a massively powerful skill. The Desolator is a massively powerful weapon. If you do everything else right, you should be fine. You should be alright getting through all this stuff. Enemy hero killed. I'm on my way to the Krieg fight. I'm not bothered about the Krieg fight. Although during the Krieg fight I do lose a lot of health at the end. I think it's more to do with what I'm standing in than how hard he hits me. And that's a hard totem. You could argue that I shouldn't have triggered that, but I wanted to try the build out. You know, you can always quit out. And these things can one-shot you, but you can always quit out if you think it's going to go really badly. And I'm just kiting them around, making them walk through a bunch of bad stuff, shooting them. Worked out okay. I think there's one left. Where's... Oh, it's him. He's the only one left, isn't he? Yeah. And I got a couple of blueprints out of it. Abyssal mask, yeah. Right, what next? Get into the underground transit and then leg it on. Get to the shrine that's in the underground transit. Try not to stand in that green stuff for too long. I have died standing in that green stuff before now. And I was still learning what I was doing. Not on a hardcore character, luckily. That would have been a bit disappointing. Yeah, so if you want to try this, there are quite a few options for shop bought gear, but two-handed gun, you know you're going to end up with something really good, and the gear that supports it, you can buy really good fire damage gear from the Kaiman's lot, and then later on you can get elemental damage stuff from Coven. I think you can get more fire damage stuff from Mammoth Resistance. I'm not too bothered about armour and such like. And I've got no restriction on components. I can use whatever the heck components I want. Relic, I'll probably try and use a relic that came from a faction blueprint, just so I can say you can go and get this, it's not a random drop. Kind of going out of my way to grab the ether crystals here. But as for damage, single target damage and area damage are both very good with this setup. And defensive, Inquisitor Seal's got the defensive stuff built in. I've got a few other things that are helping out. I've got Fisher on fire strike, so that's why that little volcano's going off all over the place. It does activate quite frequently. And it's a strong skill, and if you shoot it and it goes off under a boss, they're obviously getting that kind of shotgun damage from all those shards that shoot out at the same time. Ooh, I'm hated with the ethereals halfway through really well. Near the end of Act 1 elite, I'm hated with the ethereals. That's always a good sign. This area is a bit of a maze. You can end up going into a dead end a couple of times around here. You just got to kind of glance at the mini-map and think, where does it look like it's forcing me to go? Because you might have played this a few times through and always had the same clear path run through and you think, what's he talking about? But trust me, you can get stuck in dead ends if you go the wrong way. I don't bother going into the spider bit here to get the gold chest. I just couldn't be bothered. I just wanted to get to Krieg, get him out of the way, and get and open the Forgotten Gods area. Because I'm not using a merit or anything on this. This was a fresh start. So that was also part of the challenge, was do it as a fresh start. Don't do it where you've got writs. Sorry, not writs. Where you've got mandates to boost your faction rep. Because that would really help. Let's get the faction rep a bit quicker. But any faction that I'm interested in, which is pretty much all of them, I'm just getting a writ for the plus 50% faction rep. I'll have a look at all that stuff in a minute after this Krieg fight. So that's that mini boss out the way. I think Outcast might have some fire stuff as well. I can't remember. It's just you get hung up on visiting all the shops and browsing for ages. Right, here we go. I was expecting you. Have some of that. I didn't bother slowing the footage of this down. You can see what's happening. I'm shooting him and he's dying. But have a look near the end of this. just after he's shouting out his little monologue at the end, and you watch my health bar, 5, 4, 3, 2, there, look, and again in a second. That was not good. I think it's because I walked through that green stuff. Bit stupid. Pick up all the loot, go back, cash in whatever. Yeah, I can't use anything I pick up, so I just sell it all. I'm not keeping it for another character. I'm probably not going to bother doing another character on this save slot. It's not a lot of point. I'm just using this and just selling everything. It speeds the process up because you don't have to look at what you picked up, because you just sell it, because you can't equip it. You can only use stuff you bought, so anything you find. Oh no, see that spark thrower, that rifle that I've kept? It's because that's one of the ingredients for the desolator. So as soon as I had that spark thrower rifle drop, I kept it. This is me just checking which ones I'm honoured with and which ones, because when you're honoured you can buy the writ, obviously, and I haven't got the homestead one. Another quick look at the gear. I slowed the footage down. Gloves are crafted at the blacksmith, boots are crafted at the blacksmith. Trousers, I think I just bought them. Yeah, they're bought from the shop. That is the Devil's Crossing faction gun. You can see there is the elite version there. That's the level 70 thing that I will get when I'm level 70. Before I get the Desolator at level, whatever it is, 90, 94. Yeah, just talk to him. And I'm just going to go out and talk to the what's-his-face emissary. Open up the rift, and that's your lot. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you all in whatever video I do next.